Hi friends, welcome to what I would like to consider the cream blush extravaganza ball, going over my current favorite cream blushes and perhaps those that I feel were on a lot of people's radars or just have been popular for quite some time. If it's your first time here, however, hi, I'm Alicia. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you are returning, well, thank you for visiting me again. Kinky Sweat stands for my kinky hair and sweat life. I'm a fitness professional who loves things all movement and beauty. If you want to check out what I do in between the makeups, you can head over to my Instagram. This is what I would like to accomplish with this video. I would like to present my current cream blush favorites as well as to expand upon each of them, my thoughts and how I feel they wear, the color selection, all of that. And for this video to also act as a guide, if you are wondering about a lot of these blushes and you can't go in store and it's really tough for you to decipher how they look online and how the color will translate from, of course, a device screen to your own skin, maybe if we are the similar skin shade that you could kind of figure out which one will be for you or not. And I very much understand if I'm not your same skin shade, this probably won't help you much in that category, but perhaps I could shed some light on some of these formulas that I'll be presenting with the different cream blushes that I have in this video. So why don't we get started by coming a little closer. That's enough. I have a couple of new things on my face. I am trying out the Peach and Lily Skin Shield Blurring Primer. You know how I feel about primers, but I'll let you know what I think about this one. I also have the LYS Beauty Triple Fix Serum Foundation in T and 3O, as well as the Westman Atelier Vital Skin Foundation Stick in 9 on some portions that I want a little more coverage on. Let's start with what I believe is to be the star of this video. It is the newly released Tower 28. Hold on, it has a name. Beach Please Luminous Tinted Balm. This is considered to be like a clean, carefree type of a line. They mostly have cream products and they released the original 3 shades maybe, how long has it been? A year or a year and a half ago? And last week they released 3 new shades, which I purchased all of them. We're looking at After Hours, Rush Hour, and Power Hour. But if I did say at the beginning, this is just to kind of showcase my different cream blushes and what I think about them, but mostly for you friends to get an idea of the color. First up is Power Hour, described to be a sun-kissed terracotta. And then I have said in the past that this was one of my favorite cream blush formulas, if not my favorite. It's balmy and emollient in texture, but the dry down is normal. Is skin-like in finish, but it doesn't glide around. It doesn't set dull, however. There's some luminosity to the finish, and of course the high color payoff is absolutely amazing. You could also wear the Tower 28 Beach Please Balm on lips and cheeks if you wanted to do a little dab. I tried this color on already and I found, because it's I love terracottas, you know, when I was going off about LYS's Beauty Confident, it's like a cinnamon pink, okay? This does look a little muddy on me on the apples of my cheeks. So I would say better for my skin complexion to be placed higher. Introducing one of my most favorite brushes I like to use for cream blush products. This is the Hyssop V50. It's an angled synthetic brush and I feel optimal for placing blush where I need on the higher points. Look at me, I'm sabotaging my own demo. Let me keep this nearby so I could do a little wipey wipe. Dabbing some straight from Pam. If you want to take a more hygienic route, then I would scoop this out, put it on a palette, or put it on the back of your hand first. Placing this higher on the cheekbones, and you just see like the color comes forward right away, blends effortlessly, practically melts into the skin. And although you detect that shininess from the swatch, it doesn't dry down as emollient, and the skin-like finish I feel is just perfect. So here we have Power Hour from Tower 28. I like, as you saw, to apply it higher on the cheeks, but however, I love Rush Hour's peachiness. Hold on. Rush Hour is described to be a sun-kissed peach. Just look at that color. And of course, I like to place peachier types of tones more on the actual apples of my cheeks. Although I'm applying it with Power Hour, I just love how Rush Hour looks on the center of my face. It gives it that beautiful, dare I say, angelic flush, but not overwhelmingly peachy, because surprisingly, peach is not my most favorite blush color. I rather get into the terracottas than the roses, okay? But I could do a peach if it's the right type of a tone, and I absolutely love this. I think very spring and summertime appropriate, and this one perhaps more suitable for fairer skin types, whereas I feel Power Hour, and as we will see, After Hours, more suitable for deeper skin tones. If you are lighter than me and wanted to do a Power Hour, I would apply it higher on the cheeks, and of course apply Rush Hour lower, because it's very forgiving and you see it melts into the skin in a way that it creates that beautifully natural looking flushed effect on the cheeks. Lastly, we have After Hours, described to be a sun-kissed berry. So here we have all new shades of the Tower 28. Just look at that beautifully rich, like mulberry shade. For sure, I feel this is very fall appropriate or any type of season appropriate, but man, do I love to apply this like higher on the cheeks. This definitely is going to lift the complexion. I feel it's more glamorous. It's a grown and sexy shade for sure. If you're deeper than me, I think this will be beautiful not only on the cheekbones but also on the center of the face. And if you wanted to go ultra glam with it, place a little more closer to the temples, and you see, compared to this side where you apply a peachy or even pink type of a tone on the center of the face, it widens it a little bit, it gives it that flushed effect, whereas placing blush higher on the cheekbones lifts the complexion a little bit. It kind of serves as a sculpt, and know that you don't have to necessarily rely on bronzers or contours shades to sculpt the face. You could rely on a very beautifully wine colored blush to give yourself some dimension on the hollows of the cheekbones, or even above that, just again relying on color for that dimension and sculpt. After Hours is an absolute hit for me because I just love building and sculpting with blush. I do like Power Hour though. I think, again, terracottas on me can be a little tricky because if they're too brown, then I rather apply it more as like a brush sculpt blush. Another brush I like to introduce is the Koyuro Makiko cheek brush. This is also synthetic, and the reason why I tend to gravitate towards synthetic brushes when dealing with cream products is, although you can use natural hair brushes, preferably undyed ones, synthetic brushes are not going to soak up as much product as a natural brush would, and with using cream blushes, you might have to clean your brushes a lot more often, and cleaning synthetic brushes more often than a natural hair brush is more appropriate because they could take more of a beating. Hopping back into Power Hour, I'm taking a little more, and because this is a smaller brush, I want to place more on the actual hollows of the cheeks, just so you can see how this color serves as like a little bit of a contour moment, except for the fact that it's more terracotta, not like a true brown or golden or red brown type of a shade, or even like a shadow, but nice to rely on for a little bit of the terracotta sculpt, don't you think? Those are the new shades for the Tower 28, but I want to hop back into the older three because those, oh my god. Getting into Happy Hour, Golden Hour, and Magic Hour. Happy Hour, Sun Kissed Coral Pink. Now we're getting into like the more brighter colors here, and this one is definitely like summer appropriate, like whoa. Let me introduce another brush I love to use with cream blushes. This is the BK Beauty 106 brush. I like it because it's domed, synthetic, and easy to place blush on the apples of the cheeks effortlessly. Now, little goes a long way. That's why I had to tap off a little bit, and which I like to do usually before going in. This is just an exceptional formula. Like every time I use it, it grips the skin elegantly in a way that doesn't look textured or doesn't look like it's splotchy. It just melts, but it doesn't move around. You could place it with whatever tool you wish, whether it be your fingers or even a sponge. It just spreads just beautifully. I don't know what this stuff is made of, but I love it. Quickly taking a look at the ingredients. It has cornstarch, so if you're not cool with cornstarch, definitely don't buy this. The third ingredient is castor seed oil, and I think that's why it has a tighter texture than one that might rely on another plant oil that perhaps a little more fluid, but because of how it's formulated, I think the castor seed oil allows just for better control when applying this formula. And look, just the pink is, this is like so summer ready friendly. I can't even. And this shade was always sold out, fam. I mean, you couldn't get this anywhere for a very long time. And what I'm talking about is Golden Hour Sun Kissed Orange. Look at that. And compared to Rush Hour, they look similar, but I definitely detect a little more peachiness from Rush Hour, and Golden Hour is just orange. Okay, it's just orange. Let me wipe off my 106, tapping a little bit of Golden Hour. I want to make sure I don't sabotage myself. But just look how beautiful that shade is. And with Magic Hour, no, excuse me. So many hours. Happy Hour. But oh my gosh. Like the orange, this is a unique shade for sure. Because although it's orange, it has a nice depth to it that is not like your of course orange that you will find in a Crayola box of crayons, but it just gives the skin a beautiful natural like summery type of flush. So I would say this is beautiful on deeper skin tones. On me, it, you know, I could deal with it. I think if I applied it with bronzer, it could tie in better. I just prefer the pink, but this though is outstanding. And if you happen to have both, I mean, you could place a little bit with Happy Hour so you can make it more like a tangerine type of a pink shade, type of a coral shade. So both of these together are just exquisite. And lastly, we have Magic Hour Sun Kissed Rosy Nude. And man, oh man, this was one of my most favorite shades to wear every day. It was just so easy, and dare I say will pair lovely with Power Hour because it still has like that rosiness. It leans more brown. Taking my 106 again, this was like my everyday shade for a very long time. You can see how much more pink it is, but it doesn't look ashy either. It just has such, again, beautiful rosy warmth, but it just makes my skin look naturally flushed. Barely there, but just enough. And I even apply too much near and around my nose, but even so, it like works itself out fine. It just blends beautifully. It melts. It could be manipulated in a way that is not going to compromise the skin whatsoever. And just for kicks, I want to go back in with Rush Hour, the more peachy, just to see how that looks on top of Magic. And I think it's like a perfect pairing. You got a little peach, you got a little pink. If you want a little more brightness from Magic Hour, put a little more of the Rush Hour. Look at that. Golden Hour always just is so fun. From the original three, however, Magic Hour was definitely my favorite. Of course, I would always receive FOMO Golden Hour because it was always sold out and I just had to see what the fuss was about. This is beautiful though. This though, Magic Hour, my fave. Let's quickly get into the Fenty blushes because I always go back and forth with these. I was really excited when they first released, but after using the Tower 28 and of course recently LYS Beauty, and although I only have one shade from Westman Atelier, I'm just very much impressed with that blush formula. So I'm going to pick out a couple that I usually gravitate towards because although I got all of them because I just wanted to see what it was all about, there are a few that I use more of for sure. That definitely has to be Rosé Latte, Petal Poppin, and I wanted to try out Fuego Flush again because Fuego Flush for me, kind of what Golden Hour is doing, but a little bit better. So here we go. We got Fuego Flush that has a little bit of shine to it. A soft tangerine with shimmer. Definitely more tangerine than Golden Hour, but I feel because of that, maybe serves more as like a highlight. I'm actually going into my Chikuhoro Takumi T11 brush. This is a natural hair brush, but it's undyed goat hair because it's paddle shaped. I just want to see how it goes more on the cheekbones. So you could detect a little bit of shine there. I would consider this to be more of a highlight moment. As you see, if I look straight forward, you can detect some of that tangerine, but it's not as prominent as the Golden Hour shade. So perhaps something I would wear together with another Tower 28 shade or even another cream blush shade altogether. And if I were to use my finger, you definitely get more payoff on the first application, but it still blends out, so that, again, I think better probably to layer if you want that more tangerine shade to show through. And Petal Poppin is the soft baby pink that reminds me of Magic Hour, but I prefer Magic Hour's more like rosy tone. Taking a little bit of that again with my BK Beauty 106. And you know, I have to say, I appreciate Fenty's efforts in creating a cream blush formula that is not intimidating to use, because you saw on the first application from Magic Hour, I mean, it was like, whoa. It's more emollient too. I think it just has more stick. So when I pop my brush in the pan of a Tower 28 compact, I just get more product overall. But I do recognize that the Fenty might be easier to blend, but the Tower 28 is easier to blend too. I do still think that Tower 28 has a little more color payoff on the first application. But Petal Poppin is beautiful too as an everyday shade. For me, is something I go to or have gone to several times if I wanted something quick and easy to look like I'm alive. Taking off Fuego Flush, and I'm using my Westman and my LYS in between, because you know these foundations have good for you ingredients. Well, hopefully they'll do something nice for these in between swatches. Rosé Latte, we have a soft bronze nude, which I thought was an intriguing shade description. So it looks similar to Power Hour, but dare I say I detect a little more brown from Power Hour, maybe a little more rose from Rosé Latte. I'm definitely taking my Hyssop V50 brush for this one, because I want to apply Rosé Latte more so like I did with Power Hour on the hollows of my cheeks, a little higher. And this I find not only with Rosé Latte, but for shades with that, again, that bronzy type of a hue, I feel look better on my complexion when placed higher on the cheeks. So here's Rosé Latte. You know what, I like the Fenty, I do. As I'm trying this out now, I think it has a place for anyone who wants an easy to apply cream blush formula. And I do appreciate their very extensive range. And you could bring it a little lower so it could serve more as a blush, but I like it a little higher, and then I can apply leftover on the apples of my cheeks if I wish to. Now getting into more of the red shades, this is Straberry Drip, which I consider to be more of like a coral. Yes, it's described here to be a soft coral pink. And let's see, maybe next to Magic Hour, it's just so beautifully rich. And Straberry Drip, I think, is more like softer in hue. I'm applying it right on top of Petal Poppin, same V50 brush, and I love how that looks. I think this is definitely like a summer flush moment. Of course, it has pink in it, but it's a lot brighter, I think, because of its coral hue, and melts into the skin beautifully and doesn't look like outrageously red. But we have Daquiri Dip, which is the soft coral red, has a lot more punch than Straberry Drip. Definitely, I think these two combined will give you Magic Hour from Tower 28. But if you want more of like a red, I think sunburnt look, then Daquiri Dip is the way to go. I'm going in BK 106 on top of Rosé Latte. I know I'm like overlapping here. This definitely is a little more red on me. I would think on a deeper skin tone that it will appear more of like a flush. But if anything, I would still apply it here on the center of my face. Now I'm skipping over brands here. I do want to try LYS's Inspire, because I think Inspire kind of reminds me of Daquiri Dip. So here's Inspire, and this is more of a terracotta coral. So you see, it's more of like an, dare I say, it looks more orange than Daquiri Dip. Daquiri Dip is giving you more red. Of course, Inspire is giving you like in between. Dare I say, it's like if you were to mix Daquiri Dip with Golden Hour from Tower 28, you'll get LYS Beauty Inspire. I'm just gonna do a little pat down, just a little bit. By the way, I'm using my Bioderma because when it comes to this much swatching, removing, applying, I want something that's super gentle on the skin. And notice I'm not pulling on the skin or tugging. So we seem to be doing okay. All right, let's take a look at Inspire here. Same Hyssop V50. As I suspected, definitely picks up more than the Fenty does. I know it's a bigger pan, but still, the brush is hitting the same amount of product. Dare I say, LYS Beauty sits between Tower 28 and Fenty for me because it has a beautiful pigmentation, but it's not as tight as the Tower 28 blush, whereas you get a little more movement from LYS Beauty Higher Standard Satin Matte Cream Blush, but it doesn't fade away. Like, look at that. It just kind of disperses effortlessly. It gives you the color, man. But then Daquiri Dip had a little more red. Why don't we go into more of like, well, you know what? These shades always perplexed me. I think this one is called Bikini Martini. This is more of a soft bubblegum pink that looks a little cooler on me. Take my Coyuto brush in with Bikini Martini. And yeah, it doesn't show up as much as like Self-Love or Confident from LYS Beauty, nor does it show up the same way as Tower 28's Magic Hour or Rush Hour for me. So I rather have a color like Magic Hour that's softer in general. Even Fenty's own Petal Poppin that shows up better on me. But because this is so cooler in tone, you know, it's very light. So I think this shade is more appropriate for those who sit on the fair to light part of the skin shade spectrum. But Crush on Cupid is the soft, cool pink. So this has a little more color to it, I feel. Definitely a little more than Petal Poppin. Dare I say, combined, I'll get Strawberry Drip, and of course another one of my faves. This was in my collab set with Hyssop, the beloved T47. Going in Q Crush on Cupid, and I definitely get more of a pink Q for sure. A lot softer than I feel. You really have to, you got to pick up a lot more product from the Fenty if you want to get that color payoff for sure. But this is a lot better on me. If anything, I would have just skipped on Bikini Martini and did Crush on Cupid if I wanted something more exclusively pink from the Fenty's Chic outline. And Summertime Wine. Next to, I want to do After Hours. Summertime Wine in the Fenty lineup is Soft Berry with Shimmer. So let me see here. This is After Hour. So Summertime Wine, you could detect a little more like berry. And Fenty's Cool Berry, we're looking at Soft Mauve with Shimmer. Definitely more mauve-y in tone for sure. Again, this is Tower 28's After Hours, Fenty Summertime Wine, and Cool Berry. A little more red, I think, from Summertime Wine. And I'm just going to overlap them here just so I can save my skin a little bit. I definitely want to go in back with my T47. This is Cool Berry. I'm going to place Cool Berry more on the actual hollows. And it's a really beautiful color. I think this is great for fall. And it does have shimmer, but it doesn't look like glittery or overly shimmery on the skin. So you definitely get more of that sculpt from Cool Berry. And then Summertime Wine, I think we're getting a little more red. Same T47 and same area here, but on this side, more on the hollows. Definitely beautiful sculpt here with Summertime Wine, and one that I would wear, in a shade I would wear maybe in the fall. That is beautiful. That is, but I like After Hours more. My mistake. I think After Hour has red. The Summertime Wine has more berry. Yeah? And of course, Drama Class, which is, I mean, I had to get this simply because I'm like, where in the world? Soft Violet. Let me see here. I'm going to put it between, what was this shade? This was LYS's Inspire, Fenty's Bikini Martini, and now we have Drama Class. I actually experimented with this. I like it overlapping either Cool Berry or Summertime Wine. So just placing it over one of those, I think, kind of enhances its purple hue, but it's not as like intense as I suspected. Like if you wanted to really show, you got to put it on there, which you see that I'm doing now. I'm picking up quite a bit of product to better showcase the color, but if you're not careful, like it could look a little bruised. So sometimes I feel if I wanted to wear Drama Class, I have to wear it higher on my cheekbones, and perhaps it serves more of like that avant-garde bracket of color around the temple area, around the eyebrow, and down to the cheekbone. Tricky shade. You could get away with it, but you have to be really strategic with this placement. And the Patrick Ta, which I always forget about. Shame on me. This is why I gotta stop buying so much makeup. Major Beauty Headlines Double Take Cream and Powder Blush. Ooh, this has such a high rating, and I remember when it first released, I tried to like not give in, but it was too tough. Too tough, fam. I have 2 shades. She's So LA. And do you know her? We have a total of 4 shades here. She's That Girl, which is a soft pink, currently out of stock. She's So LA, which I mentioned, the bronze nude shade. She's Different, the rich plum. And what I have, Do We Know Her, peachy coral. Now this is a duo where you have a cream product as well as a powder product. But contrary to popular application technique, Patrick, who is a makeup artist and he has his own line, I forgot when it released, maybe 2 years ago. Patrick applies a powder first and then he layers a cream on top. This is how the compact looks. You have a plastic flap to protect the cream and you have the powder underneath. I actually really like the consistency. It reminds me of the Tower 28. Here is She's So LA. That definitely takes on more of a bronzy, like true bronzy hue as it's described. So to follow those instructions, why don't I go in with my Yano series? Oh gosh, something happened. I like broke the pan. The Yano series number 2 brush. I'll place that because it's bronze higher near the actual hollows of the cheeks. So it's a very soft color. And then what brush shall we use? Let me go in with my BK. Make sure I wipe that off because we got a lot of pink on those bristles. Flip the tap up, tap into the pan just so you could take a look at the color. It's very soft, but then right on top of the powder, which it doesn't disturb it at all. If you wanted to take a little more, like whatever's left on the brush, you could bring that nude shade more on the apples of the cheeks. Now, as much as I love this color, I think it's exquisite. I wouldn't rely on it as like my blush moment. I would still apply maybe Do We Know Her on top, but I just love the shade, what it does to give my face, my complexion some warmth. And the texture is absolutely amazing. The fact that this cream formula is designed to be layered effortlessly on top of a powder without disturbing that first application, I think, is testament to why this product is still popular to this day. And Do We Know Her? Here we got like that peachy peach. What can we do it next to? Let me see here. I'm gonna do it next to, oh, kind of like I could detect more peach. This is next to Magic Hour and Golden Hour. Definitely more peach. In the same fashion, I'll use my Yano series brush first to apply the powder. And I could be a little more liberal here with this application. So even the powder shade is beautiful. Gives me the right amount of flush. Wiping my BK 106, tapping into the Do We Know Her cream, and right on. Oh boy, I picked up too much. In terms of consistency, it reminds me of the Fenty Beauty's consistency, but with a little more color. So now we have Do We Know Her from Patrick Ta with She's So LA. Since we need a little bit of blush on the She's So LA side, why don't I bring in another favorite, the Westman Atelier blush, hold on, Baby Cheeks blush stick. And this one is the rose. Oh my gosh, I'm running out. So this shade, I don't think is happening anywhere here. This is a very unique tone. as I had swatched it before with the other shades, not only in my, I think recently my LYS Beauty video when I was combining different blush shades, and maybe in the Westman video, I cannot recall. I like to actually place this on the back of my hand first, and then I'll take a brush to it. So I'll take my Chikuhodo one, and pulling from that application, I'll just tap now where I want it on the apples of the cheeks. This is more of a rose, and it kind of reminded me of Power Hour a little bit, but it definitely has more rose, but it has more of like a mauve to it. That's very different from the roses that we've encountered, like this one, the Rosé Latte from Fenty. This one, I believe, is Crush on Cupid, which is more of a pink. But I don't think any of that exists in the Tower 28. Although this is supposed to be a soft rosy nude, or I think that's what it was called, the description. This has a lot more plum than Magic Hour. See that? Magic Hour is more pink. This is just a little more plummy in nature, and that's why I love it. It's definitely a very sophisticated shade. I love that it's more not as pink, but more of a true rose, but leaning more mauve. Not like a summer color, I would say. I would then equate this more like spring summer, the peaches and like the hot coral shades. But the Westman Atelier is great. I actually really like this specific product. The dry down is natural too. You get pretty good pigment. I much prefer to apply this either the back of my hand first or from the brush, which you can do. Take it straight from the bullet because I don't like applying the stick directly on my skin. I feel like that disturbs the makeup underneath a little bit. So I rather take directly from the bullet and then pop it on there. And I'm applying a little bit more just so you can see the color better. Yeah, this is more like my wintry rosy flush. This is more of like my springtime, the flowers are blooming type of a thing. Okay, I think we can do one more. I want to do the LYS again because I want to see those in action one more time. Inspire, you've seen, but I want to apply self-love. Self-love, I think, might be the closest to the Westman. The Westman has a little more plum to it, and the self-love, I think, a little more rose. Back in with my BK Beauty 106 self-love. On this side, I really like self-love. Self-love is definitely more pink, I think, in the overall tone than Westman Atelier's Dou Dou. But this, I mean, this is like more of a truer pink shade on me that I like to wear on the apples of the cheeks. My standout favorite, most definitely, from LYS is Confident. This is their more cinnamon pink. And let me put this right next to what I think actually should be put next to Power Hour from Tower 28. This is more pink leaning than Tower 28's Power Hour. I'm detecting more terracotta, more brown. That's why I feel is better applied on me, higher on the cheekbones. Whereas this, I could get away with the lower placement. And this is just, I love this shade so much. I was gushing over it in my original LYS Beauty video that I just adore the undertone. So if you could see both self-love, you could detect more of that pink hue, but Confident is just more subdued, is more earthy, which I prefer, but it's not so earthy that I have to apply it higher on the cheekbone so it doesn't look muddy like Power Hour could from Tower 28. Whereas if I apply Power Hour on the apples of the cheeks, it's a beautiful shade, but I think the undertone just kind of drops my complexion a little more than I would like. But if we wanted to, we could do Power Hour. I could place this, let me see here, with my Koido brush, like I did earlier in the demo, more into the hollows, and then I have Confident kind of gradiate down more on the apples of the cheeks because I feel they're in the similar category. Then I could use Power Hour to create more of that sculpt, and taking my BK Beauty 101 brush just to kind of clean up under But isn't that a beautiful combination with Power Hour and Confident? Please. Just taking away a little bit of self-love. Never, but just for the just for the blush shade demo. Inspire. The terracotta coral. Again, I think just so uniquely formulated with this color profile. It's so beautifully perfect in terms of its tone. It's not too red. Like, I feel Fenty's Daquiri Dip is, I like the red, but I like how there's just, here there's a little more terracotta to it. It's not totally red, it's more coral. And I just love the flush it gives my face. And ultimately, you know, since I have all these cream blushes, I could take Fuego Flush from Fenty and apply it higher, like almost as if I'm applying a cream highlighter. But when I combine it with Inspire, you can see how it kind of changes. Like, it makes it a little more orange here, closer to my cheekbone. So if you really wanted to fire up Fuego Flush, get more orange, and I would apply this on top of another cream blush to get that impact. And just to top it all off, because why stop here? Bringing in Magic Hour on the Confident and Power Hour side, just like closer to the nose. Yeah, so you get a little more pink there, but it's not as intense as Confident. If you wanted to go there. Maybe a little across the nose. Yeah, And I know this is not a cream blush, but I gotta just over everything. Just bring it on it. Put it on me. I know people have been saying this is not the most intense highlight. I like it like that, because I could layer this to my heart's content. Ain't gonna look crazy. All right, fam, those are all my current favorite cream blushes. I'm sure I have more in the mix, and I'll be happy to mention those in any questions you present down in the comments below, or even my description box. But I hope this video helped in you just seeing the different cream blushes in action, the differences in tones, and how they present themselves when actually applied on the skin. If you, again, are a similar skin shade to me, this could give you a better idea of what's going to work or not work. Let me know what you think down below, as I would love to do this with my current foundation faves, as well as the bronzes, because with all those bronzer swatches that I did in LYS's Beauty Veedeeo, I'm like dying to know myself. Is it more yellow? Is it more golden? Is it more tawny, or some more neutral brown? Well, you know what? We'll figure it out together. I'll see you in the comments down below, fam. And until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you on here again with another review tutorial, cream blush extravaganza, monthly favorites, or nightly life chit chat. Take care, and I will see you again soon.